Hey guys, welcome back here to Intuitive Angling, and appreciate you guys coming by the channel to check the video out today. We're going to be talking about why August is the most difficult month of the year to catch bass, and give you guys some tips and advice on how to catch some fish in August. Without a doubt, no doubt in my mind, August, and a lot of times into early September, depending upon the part of the country you're in, August and early September are the hardest times of the year to get bit. And there's a lot of different reasons why. We're going to dig into that in today's episode, and like I said, offer you guys some good alternatives on how you can sort of combat that tough fishing condition. Also, guys, a couple quick things before we get started. I just want to remind you guys, if you want to try something that is just, you cannot put down, great boat food, guys, check out the Bridgeford Sweet Baby Ray beef jerky here. Guys, this is excellent boat food, high source of protein. The quality cuts of meat that they use here from Bridgeford to make the beef jerky is second to none. You'd want to, if you saw the meat that they use to put this in, you'd want to have it for dinner at your Sunday table. I'll put this in, you can see it as far as the tag products in this video description. You can order it through Walmart there. Definitely get you a couple bags there. And also, guys, one quick reminder, if you have not tried it, guys, check out this new Cast King ALTI bait cast reel. If you're looking for a bait cast reel and you don't want to spend an arm and a leg and you want to get the best reel that you can for the money, this ALTI is freaking awesome. It's next to impossible to backlash with this Halo Vortex braking system. It's got an all titanium spool, built for stout, 11 ball bearings. Use the promo code. I'll have the link in the description, guys. Use the promo code Randy10 for an additional discount. You guys will absolutely love this reel here, so appreciate putting up the plugs there. Okay, guys, we're getting into the dog days of summer, toughest time of year to catch fish. Now, if you look at every month of the year, January, February, all through the year, in my opinion, from what I have experienced in my own bass fishing, there is no doubt that August and early September is the hardest time of year to catch them, without a doubt. And I want to explain a little bit why that is, and then we'll give you guys some alternatives, how you can sort of combat that a little bit. When you start to get into August and September here, you have the fish really scattered on a lake. You got a lot of different fish doing a lot of different things simply because there's a lot going on. Number one, you have the thermocline is in full effect in most lakes. So therefore, you don't have a lot of fish on the bottom below about 25 or 30 foot. These fish that live deeper, it doesn't matter how clear the water is in your lake, those fish are going to be suspended. Some of them are going to be on the bottom a little shallower. Some of them are going to be suspended over deep, some shallow. Some suspended over shallow. There's going to be some shallow fish. The schools break up, and there's a lot of individual rogue bass running around, or little small wolf packs. So there's a lot of different places for them to be. Another thing is that there's a lot of different food options for them. You've got a lot of fish that are in shallow water that are hunter-gatherers. They're feeding on, shad, perch, bluegills, pumpkin seeds, snakes in the water, frogs in the water, crawdads. They're just hunter-gatherers. They're up there looking for food in shallow water. You've got some fish that are sort of in that mid-depth that move up at night to feed. And then you have your open water roamers that are basically just chasing around the shad and herring schools out there. There's a lot of life on the lake in the summertime of year, so there's a lot of feeding going on, a lot of opportunities for them to feed. Therefore, one of the reasons that fishing is so tough this time of year is the fish feed heavily at nighttime. So you know that if you fish at night, you know how much better the fishing is at night in August. And it normally is all year long, but August you really notice the difference. Another reason it's tough is the oxygen level contents, not only below the thermocline are low, but sometimes in shallow water. If you get like in the back of a cove or a creek, if there's not a lot of current moving, a lot of times you have low oxygen contents. That makes the fish inactive. And just in general, it's just hot. It's hot, and also there's a lot of activity on the boat, on the lake. You have a lot of noise decibels. In the summertime of the year on a public body of water, you've got jet skis, you got pontoons, you got wake boats out there, you got bass boats, and fish react to that. When the noise decibel levels increase on a lake, it's no different than like a bad cold front coming through, and those fish will shut down a lot of times. So there's a lot of negatives, and that is the reason why fishing's so tough. So here's some things you can do with it to really help out. Now, if you don't want to live scope and get out there and roam around and have your head glued to a video game screen, you're going to have to move shallow this time of year in order to consistently catch them in August. And what happens a lot of times, and this is why a lot of the old Bassmaster Classics we had used to be in August, and you started noticing a lot of guys were winning tournaments in August, the Bassmaster Classic, in shallow water, because those shallow fish were they started to get a little bit more consistent than the deeper fish, and for just the reasons I talked about. So here is my advice if you don't want to get out there and have your head glued to a video game screen. You have got to fish shallow, and it doesn't make any difference if the water is clear or dirty when you're fishing. There is going to be a population of fish in shallow water. I don't care if the water visibility is 5 foot clarity or 5 inches, you're going to have shallow fish. So the technique that you want to use is going to be completely dictatorial from your water visibility. If you have a lake that has clear water, say for example 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 foot of clarity, clear water in situation, this is the time of year you want to focus on topwater fish and shallow, and you got to commit to it. Now these fish up there that are cruising, feeding, hunter-gatherer type bass, they're going to bite a topwater in a clear water situation better than any other lure that you can throw. Doesn't make any difference the daytime. It doesn't the time of day. I'm talking about you can catch them in the middle of the day when it's 100 degrees just as good as you can early or late in the day. In fact, up in the day can be better with that. So one of the things that I would suggest with this in a clear water environment is take like a walking bait, like a Zara Spook, Megabass Diamante. A horny toad works really good. Some type of a buzz frog, sometimes a prop bait, something that you can sometimes a buzz bait, or even a whopper plopper, something you can cover a lot of water with, and simply do that. Get back into those feeding areas, which are usually flatter, shallow, backs of coves, backs of creeks. Put that top water down and just burn water, cover water all day long. You don't have to have shade. It helps if you do, like a shade pocket from an overhanging tree or the side of a dock or something. A lot of times you can catch them on bright sun, clear water if you just cover water and happen to put that bait by one of those bass that are cruising that bank looking for something to eat. Super fun way to fish. Probably my favorite bait for that situation is either going to be like the horny toad or whopper plopper. It seems like to me the walking bait's a little bit better later in the year, like September, but the whopper plopper and the horny toad, that type of stuff, is my two favorites. Okay, now as the water visibility starts to reduce a little bit, that gives you a little bit more options to fish. And when I'm looking for those shallow summer fish in August, I'm looking for two different scenarios. I either want clear water or I want dirty water. I don't like to fish in the summertime if I'm in a situation where that water is in that in-between color. So I either want that water visibility over about 2 or 3 foot in clarity or under 2 foot in clarity, so specifically more like a foot in clarity. So I'm hunting either the clear water for the top water or I'm hunting the dirtiest water in the lake, which is normally like the upper river part of a lake or the upper creek extremities. And the number one way to catch them in the off-colored water this time of year is on a little crankbait, a little small crankbait, a shad pattern. My favorite is that Megabass Super Z2. I'll link that in my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of this video. That little Megabass Super Z2, guys, in the shad pattern, anything like that. In fact, let me dig one out here, I'll show you. That's like money, man. But it doesn't have to be the Super Z2. It can be just, whatever your favorite crankbait is, as long as it's something small. But you're going to get a ton more bites on a little tiny crankbait than you will the bigger one. So here's my favorite. I'll dig it out here. Guys, I've caught so many on this little bait. This is that little Megabass Super Z2 crankbait. It's sort of like a bandit, a little bit like that. But get you a couple of those right there. Put them on like 10 or 12 pound test fluorocarbon and just crank whatever cover you have available in that off-colored water. I love to crank rocky banks with it or riprap. That Super Z2 comes over logs real good, so you want to throw it around any lay-down timber, down the side of the boat dock, down the side of a lay-down log. But you want to fish that dirty water, and you want to fish it with like some type of a medium, fast, stop and go retrieve. It's something like that, reeling it, a little bit faster than normal. But that'll generate you a reaction strike from those sluggish fish in that off-colored water. I have a hard time catching them on anything else in August. It's like I don't catch many fish like on a slow bait in that dirty water. I don't catch many fish on, you know, medium, like a spinner baits or chatter baits, but that little crankbait, whether it's a Super Z2 or one of your favorite small baits, will get you a lot of bites. That's absolutely my favorite way to catch them. The first thing I do when I go to August is like, show me the dirty water and give me that little crankbait, and I'm gonna catch some fish with it. But this is gonna last, guys, until the daylight hours start getting a little shorter and you start to have a significant drop in the nighttime temperatures, which is usually, you don't really start noticing a lot of difference until like the mid or the end of September. If we have a weather system that are in there where that heat dome is hanging over into September, we get 100-degree days here in September in Missouri. It can extend into September, but that's going to be the way to catch them, guys, until that water temperature starts falling down out of the 80s. So anyway, I hope it helps out, guys. We'll talk later.